What's up, guys, and welcome back to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 42. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason, and I'm joined again today, as always, by my other co-host, Travis. Travis, what's good?
Hey, not much. It's unrelated to video games, but shout out to DMX RIP from our Rough Riders out there.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this. I think it's interesting. So not that DMX isn't talented, but when people die, they immediately become legends. I'm not sure what qualifies you as a legend, but he had like one album. I'm not sure that he's.
Yeah.
Can we preface? I know he's dead, but I'm just saying, like, where do you draw the line? Is what I'm saying. I don't know where the line is. Like Nelly's a legend. I'll give you Nelly from that time period, but
yeah,
like big timers, are they legends? I don't know. Like I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, you can't just throw a legend on everybody that passes away. Like
Nipsey Hussle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like Nipsey. I mean,
or Pop Smoke. Okay.
Yeah. Or yeah. I don't know, man. I'm with you. I hear you.
Or Juice WRLD. We're on the plane. Hey, the cops are coming. Why don't you take those 50 Percocets?
Molly Percocet.
He's not a legend. He's a dumbass.
He is. Yeah, R.I.P. DMX. Don't get me wrong. DMX has several songs that resonate.
Yeah, I like DMX.
He's got several bangers that resonate.
Right.
But heroin or cocaine, whatever he overdosed on, it can hit anybody. So It's a sad day today, though, Travis. It's not just DMX. We lost Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, today. He was 99.
He looks like he's been dead for 100 years. He looks like a really like you know what he looks like? He's the guy from Star Wars that you could you know what I'm talking about? The guy pulls the hood back.
Yeah. Emperor Palpatine?
Yes, he looks like Palpatine. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. So it's been a somber day, I guess. It's those are, by the way, those people are way two opposite ends of the spectrum. Like Prince Philip and DMX, they couldn't be more unlike. Other than they're rich.
I'm more upset about DMX than the Prince.
100%.
I feel like DMX is like a late 90s, early 2000s version of Waka Flocka.
Yeah. I could get
a couple of songs. They yell at you. Like they intimidate you into making you like their music.
You think it's a game? I think it's a fucking game. Oh!
By the way, I saw a video earlier. This guy took a dog barking and he just put in DMX barks, and it was hilarious. It was so good.
I haven't been on Twitter since we found out about him passing away. I'm sure there's some gold out there. I'm gonna probably have to. I'm sure it's trending. I'm gonna have to search the hashtag later and see what kind of good stuff is out there. So anyway, Travis, we are a weekly podcast where you and I get together each and every week to discuss all things in the world of PlayStation, such as news, rumors, new game releases, and a little bit more. And we post new episodes every Monday on all the usual podcast services around the world, as well as on YouTube, where you can also catch some of our game streams and clips at the DualSense podcast. Also, if you want to chat with us, talk with us, hit us up, tell us we suck, whatever. You can find us on Twitter at the DualSense Pod. And without further ado, talk to me about what you've been playing the past week. What's good?
Finished season 3 with Kill a Man with a Rock and my Scottish League on FIFA, which isn't that exciting, other than I finally learned how to deal with the exclamation points on the positions.
Oh yeah.
Even though I would move a guy over and he could play both positions, but he still have an exclamation point. And then I realized if you go into the lineup, you can edit position and then pick it, and then it goes away. I didn't know that. I feel like everybody else probably knew that. You think I would Google that? I've played enough video games that I should realize if I don't get something, when I don't get it, I should think I'll just look it up. But Still, sometimes I just blank on things. Never occurred to me to look that up, and I
Yeah.
accidentally found it. Perfect.
I've already forgot since you told me, so it's okay.
So that I also figured out if you have a CDM on your youth squad, you move them to center back, they always get better. It's like a glitch.
Hmm.
So that's fun. But the more pressing thing from that night was you fell asleep and had a you were snoring so loud in the party that my microphone was shaking. It was like you were giving me haptic feedback to your snores.
Best sleep I've ever had. Best sleep
So
I've ever had.
that was pretty cool. We played some Battlefield 5. We had I had a pretty good week. I was it always takes me a game to get loose. Like a game or half of a game where I'm just getting my shit pushed in and then I'm okay after that. We finally beat Iwo Jima somehow as
Oh
the
yeah.
attackers, and that was a lot of fun. It was the first time that I've made it all the way up the hill.
Yeah,
I
that was
really
awesome.
enjoyed that. Yeah, the cave part was really cool.
Mhm.
You know, we've been close to the cave part before, but I've never actually made it in, so it was awesome to finally go through everything. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. The other two games we threw in was the first one was Zombie Army 4 from the guys who made Sniper Elite.
Mhm.
Gotta say, it looks cool, first of all. I think it looks like it was just like visually, I think it's a cool looking game.
Yeah.
I like the way the guns feel, and it's just fun. It's just fun to pop zombie heads, and then you can like curb stomp the bodies like American History X.
Bite that curb.
Yeah, so nobody, no, like I said, I didn't read much about this. I just thought it looked cool. Watched a couple of videos. So I walked up to a body and it was like kick, and I was like, okay,
Sure. Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
And
blast.
you can just button mash it. So you can just like it's like you're stomping grapes. You can just keep doing it.
Really, yeah, you're making zombie wine. Um,
Yeah.
Love it. I love it how it randomly kicks into like X-ray vision.
Yep.
So that was dope. Like I was wondering how that would work because obviously in single player it's natural, but I love that it pops up and tells me who I'm spectating you and I
Yeah.
get to see whatever you did. I'll tell you what was some bullshit. Two of the ones I got, it went into X-ray vision for about a second. It just popped up and then like the zombie kidney exploded, and I was like, well, when Jason does it, we get to watch it go through 14 heads, and then so anyway,
Yeah.
it is a blast. I'm really having a lot of fun with that game.
Yeah. I would second that. I didn't really have any expectations for it. I've never played a zombie army game. You know, I played Sniper Elite, which is the same studio. Never played one of these before, but I really enjoy it. It's just, you know, something I can turn my brain off and
Like a
just
zombie.
shoot, yeah, like a zombie and just shoot things, and the weapons are cool, and the uh the presentation's really cool, like you talked about with the X-ray kills. It's really neat how they did that. How they did that. It's a nice touch. I don't know. It's
Oh, I like
just
the Easter eggs, like the little
yeah,
dolls.
yeah. The scary ass dolls. Gosh damn,
See, I had
they
heard
just
about
pop.
that before, and I forgot.
Yeah, they just pop up everywhere. And then I think they did. I think also the last thing I'll say about it is I think they did a nice job with like the upgrade system.
Mhm.
As far as, you know, upgrading the guns, and then like, you know, there's an upgrade that gives you like a random like electric round, you know, every so
Oh,
often
yeah.
in the shotgun or whatever, explosive round in the sniper, that sort of thing. So it's pretty cool. It's a neat little game. I like it so far. So we've done the first mission, I think. So maybe we can do
Right.
the second tonight.
We only had one death, and that was because you, sent me into a propeller.
Yeah, I forgot
You
about
really
that.
you really John Coiled me there.
I did. It said
Uh,
shoot here, so I shot there.
I got sucked in immediately.
I was like, "What happened? What?"
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it said
Um,
shoot right there, so I did. Whatever.
hey, at least we know how those things work now, though, so we
Yeah.
get that. And then
I didn't know those weren't for me. I didn't know they were just for zombies. So,
I didn't realize it either because I was thinking, like, it would be like, we'd shoot it and then, like, a gun would drop out or something, like, I wasn't
yeah.
expecting, a Final Destination kill cam.
Yeah.
But other than that, we downloaded and listed the former $60
Mm,
beta or whatever it was, $30 beta,
yeah.
that is now free. We played that last night. I'm not sure I have an official opinion yet. Things
Yeah.
I like how, like, you have your squads on the list. So, like, I have 4 squads, and they're all different types, and they have different guns, and, like, if I upgrade one soldier, he'll have that outfit or that kit out. he'll have that kit, and then the other ones I can give each soldier and the thing a different kit, which is cool. I can change in between them as we're going towards a target, which is nice. I can switch over and this guy's my grenader and switch back. This guy's got a machine gun, depending on like what the task needs. I like that stuff. I like that as they die, you have to wait for that squad to respawn, I guess, until it's ready. I like all those things. The thing I like the most is the kill time. I feel like it's the most realistic kill time in a game I've played. Like,
Oh yeah,
if I shoot you in the chest with a sniper rifle, like you go down, and that's
yeah,
it's not like COD where it's like plus 40. It's like fuck that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or even Battlefield, like it's like Battlefield 5, you can't really you have to hit somebody in the head to get a kill shot. Like, I understand that, like, the logic behind that is, you took the head out, so they're dead, but if you shoot them in the chest, they could theoretically shoot back. I get that. But,
hmm
like, if I put a hole the size of a softball in your chest with a 30-06, you might be able to, I don't know, throw rocks at me or something like that, but you're probably gonna be screaming on the ground, so you're pretty much dead.
right, right,
Um, I do like those things.
yeah,
I found there was a little bit of controller lag, but I changed the settings and got rid of that. I thought driving the vehicles was a little weird. It's a little difficult to spot people for me. I don't.
yeah.
You could change the color types on the game. There's like 4 different versions you can do. I might need to try that. That might help me.
Oh, okay.
And then I didn't really understand the squad thing. Like, I don't. I get like the basics of it, but I don't really like. I guess I'm used to being in a squad like with you, so I can spawn on you. But like, we're in the
Yeah,
party. We're on the same army, but like we're not in the same squad. I need to read about it and understand it. I guess it feels like there's a lot of PC in it, like a PC game in it, and I'm not used to
yeah.
that.
I think that's a big part of it. I noticed that we were playing with a lot of PC players last night. Like on the kill feed, it showed that they were on PC. I, I mean, I'm intrigued by the game, is what I would say. Like, there are definitely parts that intrigue me, but then there are other parts that I'm just baffled by. Like all the stuff you say, like, I don't understand what the squad system is. I just don't really understand like what's going on. But in the time between killing people, like I don't really understand what's happening, and I don't understand why we can't be in a squad together or whatever. Like, I see people that are on our team, but I have no idea if one's you or one's not. Like, I don't know if it's a computer or if it's a human. I don't know if
Right.
I don't know if the people that I'm even killing are a human or a computer. Like,
I think it's
so
both, is what I feel like, but I don't
yeah.
have evidence.
So that's really my only like issue with it, is I don't really understand what's happening. I guess, but it's not better than Battlefield 5, but it's it's a it's a change of pace. I'll say that.
Right.
So the only other things that I've been playing other than that, I also played some FIFA as well and some Battlefield 5. And by the way, I fell asleep on FIFA because you weren't entertaining me. You weren't doing a good job entertaining me. I guess you were in the zone or whatever, and
I
you
was
weren't.
roster building. It was a lot
Yeah,
for me.
you weren't talking, and I was tired anyway, and we weren't conversing. And then I decided in my head that I was going to get off and go to bed or whatever, and I guess convinced my subconscious that I had already done that, and turned the PlayStation off and everything. And so I just went into shutdown mode, and that was it. That was all she wrote. But other than that, I also played Planet Coaster. Finally, after I've been talking about it for so long, I played some Planet Coaster, and I'm pretty charmed by it so far. I'm into it. I'm digging it. I did the first like career mission, which is basically the first tutorial. It's like the main basic tutorial, and it's there's a lot going on, a lot of nuance, a lot of customization that you can do. You can basically build everything from scratch if you want to. Like, if you don't want to use a blueprint, you can build everything from scratch, which is
That's cool.
over yeah, which it's cool, but it's overwhelming for somebody like me. But if somebody who just played it every day, and that was all they played, I could totally see where that would be something I would do. And then you can, whatever you build, you can make your own blueprint. And you don't just make blueprints from another thing that I think is cool is you don't just make blueprints for the rides. You can make blueprints of like everything. So if like
Oh,
if you have a roller coaster, and then you have like these all this like scenery decorations around it, you can highlight and select whatever you want to be a part of that blueprint and
Huh.
save it as part of it. So I thought that was kind of cool. It's a good game. I'll keep going with that and just work my way through the career before I dive into like the sandbox mode or the free play mode or whatever. I'm going to try to just stick to their career so I can learn everything. And I think that's about it. So with that, let's jump into the news. Number one, a new article from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier shed light this week on an internal power struggle taking place at PlayStation, as well as their emphasis on making AAA blockbuster games. One battle that Schreier detailed was from Visual Art Service Group, the San Diego based PlayStation team responsible for supporting many of their biggest franchises, such as Spider Man and Uncharted, with animation, art, and other content. Schreier claims that 3 years ago, the founder of Visual Art Service Group, Michael Mumbauer, attempted to form a team of about 30 developers to expand on some of PlayStation's most successful franchises. Beginning with a full remake of 2013's The Last of Us for PlayStation 5, Sony never threw support behind the ad hoc team or the project, however, and instead gave the project over to Naughty Dog, which is still in development and receiving support from Visual Art Service Group. The decision also led to the small independent team disbanding and Mumbauer leaving the company altogether. Sony has also reportedly gone full speed ahead on exclusive blockbuster games, as evidenced by the closure of Sony Japan Studio, where Schreier confirmed that Sony told developers it no longer wanted to produce smaller games that are only successful in Japan. Elsewhere, Sony is playing favorites with its teams that consistently produce hit games, according to Schreier. In 2019, Sony Bend Studio tried to pitch a Days Gone sequel, a game that was profitable for Sony, but was turned down by Sony due to the lengthy development and mixed critical reception of the first game. Instead, Sony assigned a team of Bend developers to support Naughty Dog on a multiplayer game, while another group was assigned to work on a new Uncharted game under the supervision of Naughty Dog. After fearing they would be absorbed by Naughty Dog, Bend studio leadership asked to be taken off the Uncharted project, which Sony approved last month, and they are now working on a new IP of their own, according to Schreier. So, quite a bit to get through there, but what are your thoughts off the hip here?
I'm not the only person that said this, and I'm sure some people don't agree, but I feel like remaking The Last of Us is a waste of time and money,
Yeah,
especially with the second one out, and it was so good. Like, do we need anyway? I think a lot of game remakes are a waste of time and money in the first place, and I get that it hits the nostalgia marker. What's the most successful
sure.
remake of all time? Modern Warfare, financially successful,
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely,
and that
probably.
doesn't
Yeah,
really count. Like, I don't think
right.
that counts as the same thing. Like, yeah, like Demon Souls looks awesome, but like it doesn't get my dick hard is what I'm saying, okay? I get where Ben is coming from because like it says in the article, they didn't want to end up like what was that Naughty Dog North or what is it? What am I trying to
Oh
say?
yeah, they didn't want to become Naughty Dog South as they were jokingly being called.
Right. So and
Yeah,
yeah, you're in danger of that in that situation. That makes sense.
yeah,
Especially like if you're a studio like Ben, like if you've already made something that was profitable for Sony, and I know the critical reception was a bit mixed, but now that we're a little bit farther away from it, most of the stuff that you read about Days Gone is positive. So
yeah.
from that perspective, you're like, I know that I can do this I can produce at this level, right? And to
Right.
be put on a multiplayer game for, for a game that's already successful by some other developer, like I don't know, it's kind of like that's not what we're here to do. Basically, is how I would feel if I worked at Ben. So I get that. At least Sony moved them on to their new IP now. That
Hmm.
being said, all of that being said, the part where it says, he talks about them playing favorites with the team that made these really big franchises that worked. Everybody does that in a capitalist workplace.
Right.
If it makes money or the person's good at their job, that's what's going to happen. That's how this works. So that's kind of a stupid like. What do you want me to put money into people that suck at their job? Like that's retarded. So
Yeah.
they're not doing that. So yeah. So I'm not surprised by this, especially with we already knew that Sony was really going to push their exclusive games anyway, especially with what we see Microsoft doing. We talked about last week with the show, and this week I think they said they're doing GTA 5, so like for free or part of their little pass or whatever. So
Oh,
yeah, of
okay.
course this is what Sony's doing. Like they're gonna push their version of the Game Pass seems to be that's cool, but look at all these awesome exclusives we have, right? And that
Right.
seems like it's been their thing the last generation and a half.
Yeah, I guess I took a lot. I took away several things from this. I guess first off, it's kind of, the proof has been in the pudding a little bit for a while now with Sony in terms of big AAA games.
Right.
That's what they've been doing, and really since the PlayStation 4 era kind of began.
Mhm.
And I think that, that's just where we're headed. And I mean, it's hard to argue against that, though, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because look at they
It keeps
sell
winning.
yeah, they sell tens of millions of copies of all these games like The Last of Us or God of War or, whatever. Just take your Ghost of Tsushima, take your pick.
Mhm.
Days Gone, probably of all those, is the only one that didn't sell more than 10 million copies, is my guess. I don't think that there's anything stopping them right now from going all the way down this road. If you want to look at it objectively from that standpoint, there's really no reason for them not to. I mean, this is what people buy. They buy the Spider-Mans, they
Mhm.
buy the Uncharteds, they buy, The Last of Us, these big cinematic tentpole franchises. And I think from kind of the smaller experiences that, you still have to have on your console, I think we're seeing a little bit of what they're trying to do with that sort of thing too, in terms of, you know, paying a studio like Housemark,
Right.
buying a game like Returnal from them, for instance, or buying a game like Oddworld Soulstorm from that studio to be, a PS Plus game in April.
Mhm.
Like that's how I think that they're going to bolster the kind of smaller AAA or the AA games, whatever you want to call it, the smaller experiences, the independent experiences. I think that's the way they're going to go, is they're going to just buy those games like that, or they're going to have some type of exclusivity or whatever. They're just going to pay for that. It's just easier for
Right.
them to do that. It's easier for them to do that and then keep all their studios on these big AAA projects.
Mhm.
And I don't know that you can argue right now that that's not a good business model. I guess it just depends on who you are, whether you are all in on AAA games or you like smaller titles or whatever. And then as far as like indie, like small, like indie games, like, $15, $20 games, I think that probably what they're thinking is that, look, we're going to outsell Xbox again this generation, like we did last time.
Mhm.
And you guys are going to put your games on PlayStation regardless. Like these indie developers, you might make Xbox your lead console or whatever, but they're probably thinking like you're not going to pass up on, you know, 75 or 100 million consoles. You're not going to pass up that revenue. You're going to put it on our console no matter what. So
Right.
we don't have to go find you guys. We don't have to go kiss your ass. We don't have to go try to get some exclusivity with you. Like you're gonna want to put that on PlayStation anyway if we're out selling
Mm.
Xbox 2-1, because you're not
Yeah.
gonna leave that money on the table.
Right. You want all those people.
Yeah, and I don't know that you can argue against that either. I mean,
Mhm.
from a business standpoint, from a shareholder standpoint, they're probably making everybody happy, and they'll probably continue to do that. Now, from the fan side, I don't know. I'm sure there's people that are upset there. Well, no, I'm not sure. There are people that are upset about this kind of direction. There's no doubt. There are some people who love it, and there are some people who are indifferent to it.
Mhm.
But time will tell. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see if Sony doubling down on this direction is the right call, or if by the time the PS6 is ready to come out, they've got a new CEO and they're changing direction or something like that. It's hard to say sitting here right now, but we'll see. And then really the last thing I just want to say about Bend is, Days Gone. What I'll say about it is that the game is fine, as you like to say.
Mhm.
Even though it was profitable, I'm really not terribly surprised that Sony decided to not make a sequel, for the fact that it wasn't, as I mentioned here in the write up, that it wasn't very critically received very well. There's that. But the other thing is that they already have a zombie game, right? They have The
Right.
Last of Us. And
It's better.
you, yeah, and it's better. And you had Days Gone in 2019, and then you followed that up with The Last of Us in 2020.
Mhm.
And are we really going to do that again? I don't know. So I kind of I kind of think that them putting Sony Ben guys on basically working for Naughty Dog, I think that was kind of putting them in timeout.
Right.
Like
Right.
It's like, hey, we're not gonna make your game. Chill the fuck out and go help Naughty Dog.
It will come back
Or
in a few years.
yeah. But then finally, it is pretty cool that Ben's gonna make their own game and make a new IP. So I'm
Right.
interested to see it. Even though I, was lukewarm on Days Gone, I'm excited to see whatever their next thing is. And
Right.
quite honestly, I'm surprised that Sony is letting them make another new IP, and they're not. I don't think we're going to close them, but I'm surprised that they didn't just make them a full blown support studio like they were kind of headed down that road anyway with Naughty
Mhm.
Dog. But sounds like they backed off of that and they're going to let them make their own game. So we'll see. But for me personally, I'm not opposed to this direction by Sony. As someone who has less and less time to play games, like just give me, you know, 3, 4 big games a year, and if they speak to me, I'll play it, and
Mhm.
whatever. We don't need 25 studios like Xbox has putting out a game every month. Like, I don't know, but
Right.
I
The
think that's just a difference in demographics.
and two quick points. One,
Yeah.
the issue with putting out games really quick is you run the risk of pulling a Cyberpunk and it's not good. And
Mhm.
you can't, especially now and how we've seen CD Projekt Red, what they've dealt with, especially with like lawsuits and stuff, like developers
Yeah.
are afraid of that. So by putting games out slower and focusing only on AAA games, it protects them in a sense because it lets them keep their studios kind of on one type of a track, and they kind of have control over it, and they can kind of say it's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready, right? As opposed to
Yeah.
an independent person doing something crazy. The other thing is this sort of mirrors kind of how movies have shifted, right? So we used to get a lot of you get these crazy awesome movies like Die Hard, and you get all these little weird kind of low budget movies like Stripes or
Yeah.
whatever else, Ace Ventura, the first one.
Mhm.
And then they went away from that, and a lot of these studios now they only want to put out these big movies. That's why we see so many Marvel movies and or a movie that's tied to a well-known director like Nolan or Scorsese or somebody. It's interesting that it seems like Sony is following that type of model, and you still get independent movies or you still get smaller movies, but they pop up on Netflix or their direct-to-video release. Occasionally, they'll get sold to a bigger studio if they have like a director or a star attached to it, which is kind of like a version of Housemark in the movie world. So
Mhm.
in a way, it's mimicking what we've seen out of Hollywood, and that model has been successful for them still. So part of me feels like it's. I don't think they're in any danger of failing here by doing it this way. They just might
Yeah.
make some people upset for a little bit.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's well said. I mean, would you rather have 2 or 3 nines or 9 out of 10s or 10 out of 10s every year, or would you rather have, 7 or 8, 6 or 7s or 8s? Like,
Right. And
I
Call of
mean,
Duty.
yeah. I mean, anyway, we'll see how it goes. Number 2, developer Blue Box Game Studios, a relatively unknown Dutch studio, announced a new first person horror survival shooter game called Abandoned, which is coming exclusively to PlayStation 5 later this year. The game features a realistic approach to survival in a near photorealistic open world rendered in native 4K at 60 frames per second. It will also utilize DualSense haptic feedback and 3D audio for better immersion. The game's story is centered around Jason Longfield, who wakes up abandoned in a forest after being kidnapped and brought there for a dark purpose, and he must fight for survival in an attempt to escape. The game will release sometime in the fourth quarter of this year, as I said, so around wintertime. Did you check this out? It was a I guess a mainstream PlayStation announcement. I guess if you want to put it that way, it was on the blog. So what did you think?
Well, I really like the Dutch in general. They seem like really cool people, and if I couldn't live in America, I would definitely consider the Dutch
Yeah,
environment as a good place to live.
you like the
The
Dutch rudder?
Yeah, I love the Dutch rudder. A realistic approach to a survival game sounds like I'll get PTSD in a
Mhm.
photorealistic open world. I think it will look really, really cool. I need to see more, I guess, but you know
Yeah,
how I am about games where I get scared out of my brain. Like Zombie Army is a game that if you just told me about it, I'm not sure how interested I would be. But when I watched the gameplay, I was like, okay, I can do this, right? I feel
yeah.
like this might be a similar version to me for me. And my final thought here is I'm not sure how to spell forest, and I've never been
Yeah,
sure. And,
yeah,
it really, I just can't spell forest. It's one of those words. It's too much for me. Is it 2 R's? Is it 2 T's? I don't know.
yeah. So I first off typed 2 R's, and Microsoft
Like,
Word promptly told me that I was wrong.
oh, I
So
need
it is
that
1
little
R,
clip.
1 T.
I need that little clip to follow me around all the time.
The little paperclip, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like dessert, the S's, like one's dessert, one's desert.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a dessert fox or are you a desert fox?
Yeah. It's hard to fight these sand monkeys in the desert.
Oh, that's good. So, well, anyway, my thoughts on this. I'm kind of interested. I'm not really into horror games or stuff that's going to creep me out per se, but the game looks beautiful. The trailer looked interesting, and I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm
Right.
not gonna commit yet, but it's an exclusive, so I'm going to
Mhm.
keep my eye out on that. We'll see.
And the more that games do these photorealistic renderings, it makes me
Yeah,
feel so much better about, like, okay, here's another studio that is capable of doing that. It's like, all right, cool. So it makes me feel like it's spreading into these other studios where, certain games don't need that.
yeah,
Like Zombie Army does not need to be photorealistic or whatever. But, you know, when it starts spreading out like this, and then, maybe some guy leaves blue blocks, blue
blue balls.
yeah, maybe he leaves there and goes to their studio, and then he's bringing off that experience with him, right? So
Yeah.
that part of it always gets me excited, even if it's a game I don't like.
That is a really cool feature is the photorealistic graphics because a lot of games don't do that. The really last well-known game that has done that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare from
Mhm.
2019. That's why that game file size is like notoriously big is because they have all those photorealistic assets in there. That's why everything looks so good in that game. So, you just don't see that very often. Hopefully we'll see more of it now that you can make game files smaller on PS5 with the compression and everything. So I think that is a very interesting part or intriguing part about it. Can't wait to shit my pants in photorealism. Number three, Sony Pictures and streaming giant Netflix have reached an agreement for rights to stream Sony films in the United States following their theatrical release. The 5-year deal begins in 2022 with films such as Morbius and Bullet Train, but seemingly will also include Uncharted and the recently announced Ghost of Tsushima film, among other future PlayStation Productions films. The agreement also includes a first look clause where Netflix gets the first rights to Sony Pictures movies but produced for the direct to streaming market. The deal is reportedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars and will expose PlayStation franchises like Ghost of Tsushima to over 74 million Netflix subscribers in the United States. What do you think?
Again, we're Sony, right? And we're trying to get another way to put our first parties in front of people.
Hmm.
It's a pretty shrewd move. I mean, well, shrewd. I mean, Xbox isn't like they're turning out their games into movies probably because they're too shitty. But anyway, this is kind of sweet, actually. For as far as I'm concerned, if I'm Sony, I'm loving this. This is cool. Like,
Hmm.
this could be a step in the right direction for their games. Like a lot of stand up comedians use Netflix in this similar way. Like, I could use Comedy Central. They can fund my special. They'll have the rights. They'll show it on TV on primetime one night, and then they have the rights forever, and it goes away, and they show it when they want. Or for less money, I can put it on Netflix, and people can watch it whenever the hell they want, and they can see my face
Yeah.
all the time. And even if they don't watch it, they'll see my face all the time when they scroll through. And if I
Yeah.
hit trending, I'll get a bunch of people to watch it, right? So I think that this is kind of similar. Like, let's say Ghost of Tsushima comes out and it looks badass, and you put it in the theater, and maybe it breaks even. Cool, that might be fine. Like, if it does as well as the Hitman movie did, like, how many more people played Hitman after they watched Timothy Oliphant kill a bunch of people with a barcode on his head? I don't know. But if that movie's on Netflix, I can tell you a lot of more people are watching it, and a lot of more people are
Yeah.
exposed to it. And so from that standpoint, that's a smart move.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I think it's we're really seeing Sony double down on this on the the film and TV side of it, and I think they're seeing it as an opportunity to like you said, just get eyes on their IP and on their products and get people in the door, and maybe people who never thought about playing a video game before in their life, but they see Ghost of Tsushima and they watched, they see the John Wick style Ghost of Tsushima and they're like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a PlayStation game. Well, that looked awesome. I bet it's a fun game." There you go. You got one. And if you take, even if 10%, if 7 million people
God.
watch, what if 7 million Netflix subscribers in the United States watch Ghost of Tsushima, and then 10% of those people, so almost a million people, buy a PlayStation and buy Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, that's a win-win. Like, it seems like a no-brainer, probably from a business standpoint, and it's exciting. So we'll get to see all the cool PlayStation production films come straight to Netflix. Probably, well, some of them straight to Netflix, and then some of them to Netflix after they're in theaters. So that's fun. Number 4, PlayStation may be losing out on the next game from Hideo Kojima, the legendary creator of Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding. According to industry insider and games beat reporter Jeff Grubb, Kojima is in talks with Microsoft to bring his next game exclusively to Xbox, who has been trying for years, Travis, to strengthen their position in the Japanese market. Any thoughts?
To me, this is a worse step than not having a PlayStation version of Game Pass.
Huh.
I just feel like Kojima is PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers don't get rid of Kobe.
Sure.
It's just an odd thing to me. I don't know how I feel about it, especially if it's exclusive. It's one thing if it works on both consoles. That, from a Kojima standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. Like, because you get your art into different places, it's perfect. That's really smart. But to be in talks to do it exclusively with Xbox makes me wonder, did PlayStation do something that made him upset? Did they not market the game the way he wanted? Did they say something to him? Did the contract he originally signed, was it just a bad move for him? I don't know. Or were they trying to pigeonhole him and just only let him make Metal Gear games? Was there something that happened? Because it
Mm-hmm.
just, in my brain, he's tied to PlayStation. He's tied to Japan, and to not be making games for a Japanese, well, I guess they cut bait with their Japanese market, but you know what I mean. Maybe
Yeah.
that had something to do with it. Maybe that pissed him off. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it's just something that seems weird to me here.
I think you were getting warm there. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that, first of all, Kojima is not going to. He might make a game exclusively for Xbox, but I don't think that he's going to sell his studio to Xbox to where he only makes Xbox games, where he becomes a first party studio for them. That'll never happen, because PlayStation tried to get him to do that, Sony, and he wouldn't do it. He wanted to stay independent. So, however, I do think that this is true. I do think that this is going to happen. I think that he's going to make an Xbox exclusive game, maybe multiple. I don't know. But I think that he probably saw the way that Sony treated Japan Studio and a lot of his colleagues, from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he saw what direction Sony was going with the Japanese market. And everything that I hear about Japanese culture, that probably in his mind was,
Yeah, it's a slap in the
infuri-
face.
yeah, it's a slap in the face. It's infuriating. And I bet that on the other side of the table, Xbox has been trying to get their feet in the Japanese market for a long time. And
Mm-hmm.
I bet they're just kissing his ass.
Right.
I bet they're kissing his ass. I bet they're, everything. They're just over the top with it. And
Do whatever you want. We'll give you all the money.
yeah, whatever it ends up being, I bet they pay us. They way First of all, they're going to way overpay for whatever the game is,
Right.
and it's going to be a very one-sided agreement, whatever it is.
Right.
So it
Good
probably
for
won't.
him.
Yeah, it probably will never come to PlayStation, whatever the game is, and he may never make a game on PlayStation again. We'll see. Maybe he will, but he might just do PC and Xbox. I don't know, but that's my guess too. Is that Sony is kind of just pissed off the Japanese market.
Right.
So
Well, lest we forget, I know he's mad at Sony. Well, hi, okay. We're speculating that he's upset with Sony. We don't know for sure. I don't have Kojima on speed dial, but is that worse than joining the team that dropped 2 bombs on your people? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't forget that. Like,
Yeah. People
I
don't
mean
forget.
I mean, like, seriously, there's, like, Germans that I haven't forgotten about, like, Alsace-Lorraine in World War II that France took it. Like, I
Mm,
mean, it's just how it works. Like, anyway, I don't
mm.
know. I'm just saying.
I don't know. It's a fair point. We'll see. I bet we'll hear something. Let's see, it's April. That'll probably be an E3 thing, is my
Yeah,
guess. I think Microsoft will hit us with that in June.
that'd be a big swing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5, Sony announced April's additions to PlayStation Now on the PlayStation blog this week. Joining the service are Marvel's Avengers, Borderlands 3, and survival game The Long Dark. Avengers will be available until July 5th, Borderlands 3 until September 29th, and The Long Dark seems to be a permanent addition. So,
Hmm.
what do you think of the new PlayStation Now? These are a couple big names there.
Right there, yeah. Prince Philip's playing the Long Dark right now. Um, think he likes it.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I think this might be a pretty good move for Avengers.
Hmm.
I think it's going to put it in a place where maybe give people an excuse to play it that maybe didn't want to try it before. And like we
Sure.
said before, it's a fun party game, and it's a 6 or a 7. It's one of those level games. I had fun with it, but like what's the longevity or the staying power? I don't know, but they
Yeah.
could maybe repair some of that fan base by doing this. I don't think it's a terrible idea from if I'm Square Enix, I'm not opposed to putting it there.
Right.
And Borderlands is a legend, so if I'm them, I'd want to put that in as many places as I could anyway, just to keep it out there, keep it alive.
Yeah. It's so one thing I wanted to note is that Sony, this might be in terms of just like brand name, like
Mhm.
brand power, new releases, whatever. This might be the biggest month PlayStation Now has ever had.
Right.
Marvel's Avengers came out in August. It's a big AAA title. Borderlands 3, I think, came out last year, and it's a big AAA title. Now, granted, these are the PS4 versions of those games. You can't get the upgraded PS5 versions, but
Mhm.
I mean, we weren't getting games this big in months prior on PlayStation Now. So I think this is maybe part of PlayStation's strategy to answer, Game Pass, what they're doing there in terms of bringing games day one. So, and the other kind of hand in hand with that are the fact that Sony has also pumped up the offerings on the PlayStation Plus side as well.
Right.
So it's a big month, and it's a good point about Avengers. People who have seen all this negative shit online about it on Twitter, and who are interested but don't want to spend $60 on it or whatever. They don't have an excuse now, so they'll get to try it. So it's probably smart for Square Enix to put that out there, like you said. Number 6, Travis, we also have a bunch of news nuggets, as always. So feel free to jump in here if you got any comments. First nugget here is a bummer. PlayStation
Mhm.
5 exclusive shooter Deathloop has been delayed from its May 21st release date until September the 14th by developer Arcane Studios. So that's a big delay.
It was that like 6 months? I'm not good at math.
Yeah, that's
7,
4 months.
4 months.
It's a
Perfect.
4-month delay. So that's a
Mhm.
big delay though. Still, it's not like it was a few weeks like
I'm gonna
Returnal. So pretty big delay.
I'm gonna call it the cyberpunk curse.
Yeah, everybody's terrified to death to put out the next Cyberpunk. They really are.
Yeah, that sucks though. I'm ready for Deathloop. I was really excited, but it's okay. I'll still be excited in. Would you say it was 4 months?
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost 4 months to the week. It looks like it's 3 months and 3 weeks. So, anyway, that's disappointing. I was really looking forward to that. It was going to be we were about to pick up the pace, right? We were about
Hmm.
to get Returnal, and we were about to get Hood, and then we were gonna get Deathloop, and then Ratchet and Clank. Like, every couple weeks, there's gonna be something. Then here we go. So, I'm sure this won't be the last one. Well, there's already been several, but this definitely won't be the last one. But the good thing is that Returnal and Hood have gone gold, so we can count
Right.
on those. We
We
can
got
count on
2.
those.
We
We
got
got we
2.
got we got 2 of the 4 so far. We haven't heard anything about Ratchet, but we'll see. Also, Travis, the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships will return for 2021 for the 2021 season starting on April 21st.
When when they don't bring back the next season, that's when you should get excited about the new Gran Turismo.
Oh, okay. So that's a
That's my
telltale
prediction.
sign? Okay.
Yeah, because they paused it. They okay. So one of the seasons they did like maybe a year ago, 6 months ago. One of the seasons they did, and there was a pause, and people were like, uh oh," and then we got like a vertical slice of the game. So so,
Mm.
but anyway, yeah. I mean the championships are fun to do, but these certified ones are the guys who are actually, well, not certified, but these lead into like the guys who are that you see on YouTube that are like the best in the world and
Oh, okay.
the world's fastest gamers is whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
The guys that make it look super super easy, and then you don't understand why you're not quick.
You guys make you look like a big bag of dicks.
Right.
Also, Travis, website Push Square reported that God of War creator David Jaffe claims he has been told by PlayStation employees that Sony will have a quote unquote counterpunch to Xbox Game Pass, which is in line with Jim Ryan's comments late last year that said that they will have news, but just not anytime soon regarding
Mhm.
that. So I'm sure that they're cooking up something. I have no idea what they could do. After he came out and said that they were not going to bring games day one to any type of subscription, maybe they will. I really don't see that still though, but we'll see.
I think you'll have access to Xbox Game Pass through PlayStation. That's what they'll do.
I mean, Microsoft wants to do it. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Also, anime motorcycle shooter game Runner was announced for next gen PSVR. Robot strategy sim game The Colonists will launch on PS4 on May 4th. The Masters will be exclusive to EA Sports PGA Tour game when it launches later this year. Go ahead, sorry.
You're good. I'm not sure that the Masters being exclusive to EA Sports is like a big draw. If
Right.
that makes sense. Like if you're doing like a racing sim and you're missing like Lamar or the Nürburgring, like yeah, that could be like people
Mhm.
like to run those tracks or whatever. I just can't imagine being like, I'm missing the Masters. It's not like you're playing NBA and like the Pacers aren't there.
Right, right.
I mean, that happens on FIFA. Like, they're missing Juventus and Roma and somebody
Oh,
else. They're
yeah.
losing somebody else next year. People still play the game. It's still like the most bought sports game in the world.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's a fair point. I'm not gonna buy, Pez. I mean, it's not a big deal. Just put the knockoff team on there or whatever, and they can just make a knockoff Masters course, on 2K
Right.
on the 2K version, like you're saying. So, also retro platformer Alex Kidd is getting a remake on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and it will release on June 24th. Critically acclaimed first-person adventure game Call of the Sea will be releasing on PlayStation at some point in the future. This is a great one. Seinfeld parody game. Sinfeld, sorry, remastered. A game which was created in PS4's Dreams will be properly released as a standalone game on PlayStation 5 at some point in the future. And it looks absolutely outrageous, by the way. Crisis Remastered on PlayStation 5 will feature a 1800p, 60 frames per second quality mode and a ray tracing mode at 1440p and 60 frames per second. Terminator Resistance Enhanced may not have its PS5 upgrade available at launch on April 30th due to more work being done on Sony's side before release. Sony released a statement regarding MLB The Show 21 on Xbox, which stated, quote, as part of the goal for this year's game, MLB decided to bring the franchise to more players and baseball fans, end quote, essentially confirming that it was the MLB's decision to put the game on
Mhm.
Game Pass for free on Xbox. Also, Streets of Rage 4 will be getting DLC with 3 new playable characters and additional modes. Horror game Layers of Fear will come to PlayStation VR on April 29th. Supernatural thriller The Dark Side Detective A Fumble in the Dark will release on PS4 and PS5 on April 15th. Adventure game Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World will get a remake on PS4 sometime later this year. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that a new rumor suggests Control developer Remedy Entertainment may be working on a PlayStation exclusive title for Sony. That would be interesting. They do have 5 games in development right now. I think we only know 2 of them, so who knows. But that goes back to what I was saying about, they can just go buy Returnal. They can just go buy a game from Remedy, So I
Mhm.
don't know. Also, Travis, Atari has created a new gaming division which will make console and PC games, quote unquote, for the modern era. It's interesting.
Okay.
Whatever that means. Publisher Square Enix announced that action RPG Near Replicant has gone gold ahead of its release on April 23rd. That a full Time Splitters 2 4K remaster was hidden in Homefront: The Revolution, but the game code has since been lost forever.
That's so
However,
weird.
I did see this evening on Twitter that a group of hackers has found the code, and it's not. So I thought when they said game code, they meant like the actual code of the game. But that's not what they were talking about. They're talking about like the Konami code. So like you're playing the game, you do left, right, X, whatever. That's the code that they lost that like unlocks it basically. But somebody figured out what the codes are, and they figured them out and they posted them. They're online now. So if you have Homefront: The Revolution and you want to check out the Time Splitters 2 4K remaster, just look on Twitter and you can find the different button input combination codes to unlock those different modes, whatever, for Time Splitters. It's just so fucking wild. I don't understand. Also, Travis, party game The Sisters, Party of the Year, which I know you're excited about, will launch on PS4 sometime in July.
Is this like Nuns, or is it like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
I really don't know. I want to say Nuns. It's got to be.
That sounds more fun.
Files for a Resident Evil Village demo have been found on the PlayStation Network. A showcase event is scheduled for April the 15th, where a demo will most likely be announced.
How do you find this shit? I do not understand.
I don't know, but there is a couple guys that I follow from our Twitter page for the pod, and they just tweet out update files and things like that. And they usually are ahead of, the announcement on stuff. For instance, one guy, I think it's called PlayStation Game Size is his handle, and he has already basically outed the Rainbow Six Parasite stuff. It's already gotten they're already on version 1.02 of that game in testing. So
wow,
it's probably around the corner as far as releasing or a demo or something like that. But anyway, Games Radar's Future Games Show will return with new game announcements and updates during E3 week in the middle of June. Godfall will finally be getting an online matchmaking system alongside its expansion later this year. Hitman 3 will get a new batch of elusive targets starting on April the 9th, so today that we're recording, and also on April the 23rd, in addition to new escalations.
I forgot to mention earlier that I beat Hitman 3.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Space that. I
That's
forgot.
A big one. I don't think we talked about that last week, did we?
No.
Yeah.
Let me go through this quickly. Loved it. I love all the Hitmans. It's one of my favorite series. I just like how goofy it is, and then I love how there's a million different ways to do anything on the game. Like you can be the worst fucking Hitman of all time, and it's okay, or you can be the best of all time. Let's see. Only had one level. I beat you on every level except for one, which was the winery.
Bitch.
You destroyed me. I had 1 star. You had 4, which is the best you did.
Yeah.
There's always one board per Hitman game that I can't figure out. Like it just doesn't work for me, and that one was it. Like I can go back and do better. I have an idea where I could do better, but it's just I don't know if I'll do it because I'd rather play the escalations or the new elusive targets. It's just more fun for me. Eventually, I'll probably go back and try to maybe beat your score. I did though. I'd heard this myth that you cannot get 5 stars unless you're on legendary mode, and on the very last mission, I got 5 stars on the train.
You did. Yeah, I forgot.
And I don't know what I did because you told me you basically went John Wick on it, right?
I did. Oh yeah.
I basically did the same thing, except I would change outfits. So and the only reason I changed outfits was because I would find, spoiler, you come across people who have more armor. So I was putting that on because I just wanted the armor. Because I figured if these guys have more armor, I just figured the way video games work, I'm going to end up going against somebody that's like a boss, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I did that. And then when I got to the end, because I changed outfits every time like that, it told me that nobody, basically I had no witnesses because I murdered everybody. Anyway, so it was a blast. That mission's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love the last one. That was one of my probably one of my 3 favorites as far as missions.
I mean, I loved the manor. I loved the last one on the train. I like the nightclub. The winery was cool. Like, I just wasn't good at it, but I liked the environment a lot. I liked it. My least favorite was the very first one.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
didn't enjoy that. It was just kind of, I felt like it was made for people. Like I said before, it was made for you if you've never played the game.
Yeah.
There's another one that I really like that I'm forgetting that I can't remember right now. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, it was a blast. You should play it if you haven't. I even downloaded the other ones.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I'm going to go back through them, but they're on my PlayStation right now. So
Uh-oh.
because I deleted all my files, so none of my scores were on there, and I wanted to go back and get all my scores.
You can play them all through Hitman 3, you know that, right?
Yeah,
If you go, yeah, you can play them like whatever with the graphical upgrades and stuff if you play them through 3, so it was worth it. Well, glad we got to cover that though. It's a little bit late, but better late than never. Also, Travis, the Council on American Islamic Relations, a prominent Muslim advocacy group, has called on Sony, Microsoft, and Valve to not publish the upcoming shooter 6 Days in Fallujah.
I wish I could fart right now. That's what I would do.
It's a video game, guys. Jesus
Exactly. Like,
Christ.
I mean, the Holocaust group, the Holocaust Museum, isn't telling people to quit making World War II video games,
Yeah.
and they have more of a reason, I guess, when it brings attention to the Holocaust. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But I mean, come on, guys, it's a video game.
Yeah.
If this video game ruins relations, like, do you mean like I don't know when we dropped Moabs on them that didn't? I mean, we literally
Right.
shot a Moab at them like 2 years ago at
Yeah.
some Muslims. I mean, I know they were ISIS, but they're Muslim,
Yeah.
so I think that was probably worse than a video game.
Yeah. Let's not lose let's not lose take our eye off the ball, so to speak. EA has also filed a patent for a dynamic difficulty system that would allow games to perform automatic granular difficulty adjustments that would be undetectable to players, which sounds kind of neat.
Well, it'll be detectable when I can't score anymore.
Fair.
I've been wondering when this would happen. I'd always figured that we always have our preset difficulties. I've always felt like we'll get to a point with at least sports games where it sees your talent level and it like adjusts. So it's still a challenge for you.
Oh, it 100% is going to happen in sports games first.
Like
There's no
um
doubt.
maybe you could set it up to where like you could do like okay the AI is only at 50 across the board, but you could do like the difficulty, you put it on dynamic and then it
Right.
it'll adjust to you, which would be kind of cool. Like I don't know, I think that'd be a blast. I mean, what's not to like about that?
Sure. Website Gematsu reported that turn based strategy game Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground will launch on PS4 on May 27th. That puzzle adventure game, The Last Cube, will release on PS4 sometime in 2021. That Japanese inspired RPG Edge of Eternity will launch on PS4 and PS5 in the fourth quarter of this year. That 3D adventure platformer The Smurfs Mission Vileaf, I have no idea, will launch on PS4 in late 2021. That Don't Nod Entertainment will be publishing a new game from developer Portaplay.
Can you only play it in a porta john?
That's what I was going to say. It's way too close to Porta John. Super Meat Boy Forever will be coming to PlayStation 4 on April the 16th, so next week. Neo, The World Ends With You will launch on PS4 on July 27th. And finally, Gematsu reported that E3 will go digital only and will run from June 12th through June 15th later this year. PlayStation will, of course, not have a presence at the event again this year because they don't give a fuck about E3.
PlayStation goes double birds.
Double birds. They don't give two shits about E3. And that is all for the news this week. And with that, I'll kick it over to Travis for this week's new game releases.
Short list this week on April the 6th, we have Lost Worlds Beyond the Page on the PS4. We also have Oddworld Soulstorm on the 5 and the 4. Oddworld I found very interesting. So like it has a 74 on Metacritic, right? Or 73 on Metacritic. I think a 7.4 on user score.
Okay.
A couple other places I've seen have given it a 3 or a 4 out of 5, and then Push Square gave it a 4 out of 10.
Oh,
I
really?
just yeah, it's just like it's all over the place, which
Huh.
I feel like for the amount of hype we got coming in, I don't know, I just thought it would score better than that. I was expecting somewhere in the 70s. So I guess on the Metacritic side it's about right, but it's always weird to
Yeah,
me when these games get 4s. Like that's a little
that's
makes me
harsh.
wonder a little bit. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
broken with it. So anyway, also on the 6th we have Star Wars Republic Commando. on the 4. On April the 8th, we have Cozy Grove. Delicious Pretty Girls Mahjong Solitaire. Who
Ooh,
named
I
that?
can't wait for that. I can't
Who
wait for
named
that.
that? God, Delicious Pretty Girls is not a phrase anybody should say.
Like, guys, let's worry about shit like that. Like, we've got a game called Delicious Pretty Girls Mahjong Solitaire. We're not upset about that, but we're gonna be upset. I don't know. Like,
You could just
be upset about Fallujah, fine, but also be upset that we're over here having a game called Delicious Pretty Girls. Like, nobody will give
right.
2 fucks about that.
It sounds pretty
Anyway,
pervy/rapey. Just call it like Pretty
yeah,
Mahjong or Delicious Mahjong. We don't need delicious pretty girls. Like the word delicious is where we go off the rails. Pretty girls is okay.
absolutely, absolutely.
I've never heard somebody call a girl delicious.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that adjective is very egregious.
it is.
Yeah,
It's also very rapey.
very rapey. Sorry to throw you off.
Hannibal might have called a girl delicious. That's a good question. Anyway, also on the 8th, we have Laid Back Camp, Poison Party, The Dark Side Detective, which I read as Darkwing Duck Detective the first time.
Yeah,
And we also have What the Dub on PS4. And that's
yeah,
all for the new game releases.
sweet. Now, what the dub game looks fun, but I'll never play it. All right, so Travis, let's begin to wrap it up here by talking about what we're going to be playing in the week ahead. So what's on your radar?
I'd like to do some more zombie hunting. It's just fun. I
Mhm.
told you the other night, it reminds me of like Dead Nation and Sniper Elite had a baby.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. I enjoy it. It's fun. I would love to figure out Enlisted, so I'll probably do some research to see if I can figure it out and go from there. It might be fun at that point. More fun at
right.
least. Like, I really like how it feels when you kill people on the game, though. So it's just
Yeah, I agree with that.
it's odd to me that I'm missing something, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll do some FIFA. I really like my team. Shout out to Coach Cal. Yeah, I've almost got every starter up to a 70 finally. It only took me 3 years. I think my right back's a 68 right now, so I'm getting close. I got 3 guys in the 80s. My striker I was telling you about, that's the fastest kid in the world, is speed to 99 finally.
Oh,
His
yeah.
his player worth is like 83 million.
Jesus Christ.
So, and my goalie's worth like 45. So I'm like, I I can't sell them, but I don't want to sell them. But I did send you a picture there. They have a 16-year-old goalie whose potential is a 93 to a 94.
Oh my god.
He's a 67. I put him out on a 2-year loan.
It's gonna come back and be like an 88.
Yeah, so if he jumps up to the mid 70s, I'll call him back and just put the other guy up for transfer, I guess, and go from there. But that's all I really have on my radar this week. If I get super bored, I might throw in some old school Hitman.
Well, on my end, I think I'll probably play a little bit of FIFA as well. And then I'm sure we'll probably mix in some Battlefield 5 as well. And still, I want to give Enlisted maybe 1 or 2 more shots. You know, like you said, it's fun to kill people on there. Like it's pretty satisfying, but I don't know if it's just like you mentioned earlier, it's just made more for PC. Maybe that's why it's so convoluted and like so much going on. I don't know, but I just feel like I'm not grasping what I'm supposed to be doing, and I feel like I'm missing a lot. But we'll see. And then I definitely want to kill some more zombies. I think there's 9 chapters, so hopefully we can get through a few chapters this week. And then the last thing is I do want to continue on with Planet Coaster. You know, learn all there is to learn and see all there is to see. And I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. So I'll continue on with that. And that's probably about it. So with that, we'll get out of here. If you guys enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'll be right in your feed on Monday mornings. Also, if you would be so kind as to leave us a rating, maybe a few stars or a review, or if you're on YouTube, leave us a comment. We would much appreciate it. And finally, this is the big one. If you know someone who may enjoy a PlayStation podcast such as this, where they can get all the news, rumors, new game releases, and a little bit more in less than 90 minutes every week, then please share us with a friend or a loved one or whatever. Maybe somebody you don't love so much. It's fine too. And we'll get out of here. You guys take care. Have a good week. We'll talk at you next time.